Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to this month's next series of mini-sodes about hiring, recruitment, and the interviewing process. So if these are things that interest you, stay tuned for the next few episodes that we'll be releasing over the next few days. Enjoy the next segments and let us know if you have any questions or if you'd like to hear more from our guests.
Got the resume. It's time to interview now. And we have 10 applicants for a certain job. What qualifies somebody to actually getting that interview? Like, their resume was awesome, met at a career fair, they're great. What should they do to be prepared for the interview?
For me, review the job posting.
Yes.
When you apply for a job, review that job posting because we're going to be asking you questions concerning the job posting. And, when we see their application that comes through the state, it needs to be detailed, yes, but try not to be too wordy, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
We'll also read the job description because maybe you think that it's something else that it's not.
Exactly. Yep.
That's very true.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of those folks who end up applying for the job, they show up, and they go like, well, that's not at all what I thought it was going to be. And I'm like, well, it says it right there.
Yeah, and another thing that I've seen in the past is, even though there might be a resume attached, or we may have seen a resume, then when they fill out the application, it's very sparse. And so do what you can to sell yourself on that application that you do for the state also.
DAS is the ones that Department of Administrative Services, their HR department is the one who manages all of those applications that go through the state's website. And so they would go through those applications and use that as a determining factor of who would make the cut, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're too sparse on your application, then they're going to go, well, you may not meet the cut because you didn't include those specific skills that you learned at whatever job that you just listed on there.
So you do not pass go. You do not get the interview then.
Well, and you get cut before it even gets to us. So it's,
right.
That's important to know for people who are applying at, on the state website is it has to go through DAS and then get to us.
Yeah,
Yes.
we don't see those that don't pass through.
Should people bring anything to interviews?
They could bring a resume if we don't already have it, or possibly if the resume's been updated. They could bring a resume. Sometimes we already ask for writing samples, and so that's not needed, but they really don't have to bring anything unless they've updated the resume.
As far as dress goes, do you guys expect any kind of certain attire for your interviews, or
I don't. We're such a...
just not PJs?
Yeah, we're such a casual agency now. Some of us dress up and look really nice. Some of us wear jeans and still look nice.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really...
Yeah. I would just like to say, I always get really nervous whenever I do any kind of interview situation. So I dress really nice because you dress for success.
Yep.
But that's me personally because I feel like if I look good, I'm going to interview good, I'm going to,
Feel good about it.
Yeah, I'm going to
Yes.
sell myself better. So
Exactly.
if you're ever nervous about it, put on something nice. It doesn't have to be a suit. You don't have to go rent out anything, your most expensive outfit. You don't have to.
It
Just
could be a
I
nice
would
button up
disagree
with
with
some
that.
nice jeans.
I would say go out and rent
Tuxedo.
a tuxedo. If you really want the
If
job.
you don't have a top hat, you're gonna
and a
automatically-
cane.
I really look for that. And
And a monocle?
Yes. I would really look for that because then I'd be like,
Monopoly
hey, this
mustache?
person really wants the job. So,
Yeah, I agree with Alexa. Maybe not as far as Bob, but I
Somewhere in the middle.
we do have the field guys. We have different kinds of divisions, and they dress differently based on what their job needs are. So sometimes jeans and a belt and a nice
Just be
button-up is
comfortable.
fine. Yeah, comfortable, but it's always best to be the best dressed one there rather than the guy in pajam jams.
Yeah,
There was
that
a-
wouldn't pass.
I did get a bit of advice when I was younger. That was a long time ago. They said, dress for the position you're applying for, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're applying for a field position, then, dress accordingly, right? How are you going to feel like you're going to dress for that day? So jeans,
A lot of the field
Shirt.
guys wear their button up.
button-up shirts.
Yeah.
So, or if you're going to be a lawyer, then dress accordingly. The suit, tie,
It would be concerning to see a lawyer show up in pajamas. I would be scared about that one.
Only if they had bunny slippers.
Maybe that's like bonus points, though. I don't know. It depends on if you like bunny
Can they
slippers.
win a law case in the bunny slippers?
Love
Or
that.
what about demeanor? Like if somebody comes in an interview and they're like super slouched, maybe they're like chomping their gum, they're like not making eye contact. Does that make a difference? How does somebody's demeanor affect their interview?
Something like that would affect me because I feel like they're not interested,
They don't want to be there.
Enough.
Yeah.
and that would really affect my outcome of the interview. Unless they interviewed great, but it's another way of just kind of taking your attention away from them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just be mindful while you're here and
Yeah.
be in the moment
Yeah.
and try to
Be
communicate.
engaged.
Yeah, communicate effectively and be engaged with the people you're talking to. That's a big part of it.
So I do have a question. What about people who are being interviewed bringing questions to the interview? I feel like I've heard you should always have some question in mind. What are your thoughts on that? Should people have one or two questions that they should ask?
Yes. I mean, you should always have some kind of question you're going to ask, right? Big one, once again, what's it like on a daily basis here? And my other one is, if I'm in that position, what is that team like? Getting to the whole work environment aspect of things, those are good questions. People ask questions about benefits, wages, the normal stuff that, it plays well, okay, I think, during the interview. But for me, it's like, okay, those are, softball. I want to hear something hard hitting, right? It's like, so I understand you're working on this particular big project. Can you tell me more about that and how I can be involved with that particular project? Now that question right there would really grab me, because then it's like, oh,
They did their research.
They
they
did
did
their
the research.
research,
They know
exactly.
we're working on. They know what we're doing, and they want to be involved with that. So
Yeah, and if you go to DNR.Nebraska.gov, we have pretty much everything about us on our own website. So it really is just a matter of you snooping through and clicking.
Yeah, that's a good thing to bring up too. Is I think in an interview you should always ask what opportunities at a job that you have to grow your personal skills. Like when I interviewed here, I said, like, what kind of training opportunities would I be able to get to expand my skill set? Like not only in this company, but for me myself. And I've had every opportunity given to me that I could ever wish for. So awesome for DNR, but you should ask those questions too of what are you interested in and what can you grow?
and just to fill up on that, just because at least my philosophy on that whole thing is that you train people to leave, but you treat them good enough to stay, right? So like for me, the whole thing is like give everybody every opportunity to learn everything they want to do, and then keep them here. Do everything you need to do to keep them here.
I like that.
And, like you said with training, like that's another really good thing about working for the state is that there are so many opportunities to grow and expand your career. So you might start out with the state and, I don't know,
Stay here forever.
stay here forever. Move in.
And tuition assistance. We have tuition assistance.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to take a certain course that has to do with your background, we can work with that.
Yeah, just in general, real quick, since we're kind of at the end of all of our questions, do you guys want to plug some of the opportunities and benefits that you can get for working at the state and specifically DNR?
Good. Playing off more on the tuition assistance. So recently, we had someone who had no legal background training whatsoever. So we ended up paying for them to get their paralegal certification.
That's awesome.
Wow.
So I mean, that tells you hey, we want to train you up, be the best version you can be, whether it's with us or not, but hopefully you stay with us. And just leads to that whole philosophy.
And that's my favorite part about finding a company that you feel like you fit in with, because they want to keep you so bad that they're willing to go above and beyond to make sure that you have what you need to succeed.
Yeah, that you are important and you're not just a number. That
Yeah.
you're valuable to the entity that you work for. You are
Especially
valuable
at
to
DNR,
DNR.
And that's what DNR, we really value the employees. We have a good group of people.
I think another really important thing to talk about is our flexibility in like your scheduling, your training, your work. Like if you have interest in doing another project, you can help with that. If you want to work from home 1 day a week or 2 days a week or whatever, like we're very flexible with that. We're super accommodating, and there's not a lot of companies that are that flexible like we are.
No, that's a very good point. There's a lot of other agencies that don't allow telecommuting at all. So you have to come into the office. We offer that. Another big benefit, especially for those who are currently in college and take out a lot of loans and you're trying to figure out how am I going to pay that. So we do have a program here that, well, it's through the federal government. If you serve with a government entity for a 10-year period, that if not all of your student loans would be forgiven. That's a huge benefit, especially for those who are trying to figure out, like, hey, what am I going to do? How am I going to pay this back? That's one avenue here that you can probably explore.
That is a really good one. And not to mention the 13 paid holidays that we get off, 2 weeks vacation and sick as a full-time employee right off the bat, and also our awesome health benefits that we get too.
Our health benefits are very good. We obviously have medical insurance and dental, vision, different kinds of life insurance, disabilities. One great thing about our health insurance is that the employee pays for 29% of the deductible. The state pays for the rest.
That is so good.
And that's a big plus.
Yeah, reading through some of those health benefits, like there are just so many that it's just like, it's actually super interesting to learn about the stuff that you can receive as a state employee with those benefits. So,
And there's the retirement program also.
yeah.
The state has a retirement program that, a certain percentage comes off out of your gross check.
They match it like some crazy number, don't
Match
they?
it at 156%
Yeah.
after 3 years.
So if you are a student and you're going to graduate soon and you're looking at jobs, you might not think that health insurance or retirement is that important, but it is something that you should consider when looking for jobs because you're going to need health insurance and you're going to need to retire one day. So it's important to look at, what company, what entity has what you need and what you might need down the road. And we have it.
All right, to wrap things up, guys, do you have any final words of wisdom that you would provide a person who is out there looking for a job, maybe specifically within NeDNR?
Oh, just take a look at what we do. Take a look at our webpage. Call us. If you have any questions, call us. And if it's a certain area that you're interested in, we'll get you to those people that you can talk to.
I mean, for me, I would say the biggest thing is for them to be authentic, right, to themselves. Right? First, figure out, what do I really want to do? What am I really passionate about? And where do I fit in? Kind of a little self-examination before you go out and looking for something else. Because if you're not your true, authentic self, then you're not going to be happy, and no matter where you go.
Yeah, and even if you don't know what you want to do necessarily, like I started out as an SOS temp and I found a place here and, there are so many opportunities to grow and learn that I've just found myself. It's enjoyable, even if you don't know starting out where you want to go or where you want to be.
And one thing is, going back to the interview process is that, we're not just interviewing the applicant, they're interviewing us.
Yeah.
Yep.
And if they don't like or they're uncomfortable with what they're hearing, they may not want to come work for us.
Good answers. Thank you for joining us for this episode of the podcast.
Thanks for the invite.
Thank you.
Of course. Yeah. We may invite you again sometime down the road.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Break time's over.
Break time is over.